The Lloydminster Sport Riders placed a ghost bike in the city last night in honor of a young man who died in a motorcycle crash in June. Our Shelby Clark spoke with a member of the club for more details of how they showed their support in the community.
Joining us today is Philip Cummin, a member of the Lloydminster Sport Riders. How are you today?
I'm very well, and yourself?
I'm very good. So last night, the Sport Riders placed a ghost bike up north in the city to honor a man who died in a motorcycle crash in June. Can you explain more on everything you all did to show support?
Seeing how the young lad was a fairly new member to the group, he had actually touched a few of the members quite closely pretty quickly, which usually in the riding community happens quite often. So when we lose somebody, it becomes not just a tragic loss for the family, it also affects the community and the people that he rides with. So we decided to do something to help memorialize and honor his memory, plus help raise some awareness for the city of Lloydminster. And that's where the idea of the ghost bike come up.
And during the ride throughout the city, was residents showing lots of support?
Residents were very aware of it due to some media coverage that was already out there. But there was no ill effects. A lot of them come out that were in the area. They come out into their backyards and they stood and they kind of watched everything. A lot of people were quite in awe on the amount of bikes that showed up, and you know, just the support that was there to begin with. You know, gave everyone kind of a positive feeling. So they already were coming in with a positive attitude, and it was just met with more positivity because there was so much involvement.
And how did the idea for the ghost bike come up, and what is the bike all about?
Well, we'll start with the ghost bike on what it's all about. It's the idea behind the ghost bike is it's got two reasons behind it. One is to raise awareness for everyone that is still around, for them to realize that, hey, you know, there is motorbikes out there and something has happened that this bike has to be out there. It's not painted to blend in. It's actually painted to be against the background so that it stands out in your mind, and it gets people talking. So it helps raise awareness for motorcycle riders so that they can, you know, they understand that, hey, you know, maybe this might be an area that we need to watch because somebody was hurt or injured here. There is, you know, maybe it keeps them from acting out and doing their tomfoolery or whatever they're going to do in town. And, you know, there's places and there's companies out there that provide provisions for people to do stuff, i.e., if you go to Nisku, there's a racetrack there. You go to Calgary, there is a racetrack there as well, where guys can do track days and stuff like that. It also, with people in vehicles and cars, it gives them the options that they can see, hey, you know what, maybe we might need to pay attention a little bit more, because in a car, when you look and you see a bike coming down the road, your short-term memory is affected and you see the bike, but the moment that you turn, there's so much other things going on that it's easy to forget that the bike was coming. And there's been many accidents in the past where, you know, a person will look, they'll see a motorbike and then they'll still pull out in front of them because they totally forget that they're there. So the awareness part of it is just to help everyone realize that, hey, you know what, we all have to share the road. You know, it's everyone's life is on the line. Now, the memorial side of things, we like to have it close to kind of where the incident was, upon family approval. They make the final decision if it can or cannot be put in place. Either A, they don't want to see it there, or B, they're really supportive for it. In our case, we were lucky enough that the family was really supportive, and having all the bikes show up, it made it even better, because then they seen that them allowing that to happen, the you know, the support of the community was there, and it was overwhelming for them. So the ghost bike end of things gives people a memorial spot instead of, you know, going and standing at a curb or at a spot and, you know, there's nothing there. You know, you have a motorbike where you can actually go up, you can put your hand on the bike, you can actually physically move around the bike and see it, right? So it's something that's connected to the previous rider or to the fallen rider, and you know, gives people something to attach to. As for the idea of the ghost bike, with Lloydminster, we've seen a lot of things happen around Lloyd, and usually when motorbike accidents happen, whether it be a guy on a cruiser, a guy on a crotch rocket, or a guy on a dirt bike, or one of the little beginner bikes and whatnot, a lot of people point the finger and they're like, you know, hey, it's always the bike's fault, and it's not always the bike's fault. So with us trying to get the community to understand what's going on, we look towards the big city of Edmonton, right? Everyone always thinks of a bigger center, and we watch the ghost bikes up here in Edmonton, and there was quite a few to begin with, and then the awareness started coming up because the high incident areas is where these bikes always ended up, and the incidents started to drop there. So it kind of come to an idea that me and a bunch of fellow members, we decided, hey, you know what, maybe this is something we should take on, break the ground on this and see if we can get this to happen, and hopefully bring a positive result to our city that helps the whole community together. Plus, on top of that, at the end of the day, after the memorial is done, after we remove the memorial, we can still use the unit for motorcycle awareness, which comes in May.
And with the memorial as well, it also helped raise funds for Anthony's family.
The one of our members, Sean Coles, organized and arranged a memorial ride, which we had done a couple of weeks prior while we were building this bike. He did the memorial ride where he raised some money for the family and presented it to the family. We had done kind of a poker run, is what it was, but all the money that was won went right back into it and went right straight to the family, which was nice. It was a great gesture for them to, help with anything that they need and show that there is the support. Even though he was only with us for a little bit in our bike group, he made a positive impact. So we wanted to make sure that positive impact is circulated back around for them.
And how long will the bike be set up north? And is there plans to bring it back in the future to help bring more awareness?
We've discussed with the city of Lloydminster, and I kind of come down to the maximum of 1 month. After beyond 1 month, 3 weeks to 1 month, after that point in time, you end up finding that stuff becomes part of the scenery. You don't see it anymore. How many people know where all the park benches are in town? The moment you put a brand new park bench in town for people to sit on and whatnot, you'll see it, but then it just kind of fades into the background and you continue driving. So we figured 1 month was the ideal maximum to have the bike out, to put it out for the memorial and the awareness. And then, lo and behold, if we don't have to put it back out again for a memorial piece, I am so happy with that. But come May next year, during Motorcycle Awareness Month, we will bring it back out and put it back in place, kind of wherever we discuss with the city and find a suitable spot. It may end up in one spot. It may end up in a couple different spots and move around the city just to help, because not everyone's always on the east side of town or not always on the west side of town. Then that way everyone gets a chance to kind of see it and as they come through town.
Well, thank you so much for giving us your time today, and my condolences for the young man who passed away.
Yeah, there's just a couple things that I want to make sure that are done. Is we had some people that did offer donations. We had a member by the name of Chris Studley, which donated us the bike to build into the ghost bike. We had Sean Coles, which helped do some finalization touches on the bike and build the flower placement on the bike. And then the flowers were donated by Flowers on the Fly by Odina here out of Lloydminster. And she made us some flowers, and they helped bring a final touch to the bike that, you can't even put words to. It's so hard to find words to it when you stand there and you look at the unit. So